we are going to move on here to our next story. The Teamsters Union, which represents workers at UPS, United Parcel Service, at least potentially may have to go on strike. We'll see what the company does for their rights to be respected. And we are very honored to be joined here by Antoine Andrews, who's a UPS driver in Long Island City here in New York and a member of Teamsters Local 804. Antoine, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, really, the pleasure is all ours. And maybe let's just start here. I mean, what are the issues for you guys as Teamsters, especially drivers? You're a driver that you want to see changes around in the upcoming contract.
But, we're just asking for basic rights. Just to start, if you would ask me to name the top three things that I would like to see improved in our new contract, the first one would be part-time wages increase. We have part-timers who are living in poverty, and this is literally. We have part-timers who are taking the train because they have nowhere else to go. They're homeless. They're living in shelters. And to work for a company that made $100 billion in revenue last year and 13 million, would it be in profit? There's no way that we should have any part-timers who are in that position.
So my second, when we talk, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so please my continue. Second main issue is we have a two-tier system. It's called the 22-4 position, and this position was created in 2018 under previous leadership. That was the agreement between this previous leadership and the company that this position would be 4 hours inside and 4 hours outside. The facility that I come from, the local that I come from, the company has not been using that position in that manner. And these individuals have been doing the same job as myself. As mentioned, I'm a full-time package car driver, and they are making $6 less than myself and other RPCDs. So this is a bad deal. So there has been a tentative agreement to eradicate that position. The contract has not been, ratified as yet, as we all know, but that is a big win for us to eradicate the 22-4 position. My third thing is MLK Day. We've been pushing for UPS to deliver on the dream. Martin Luther King Day should have been honored by UPS many years ago. It has become a federal holiday, and it's a shame that UPS only in 2023 decided to, agree to make this a holiday. And, to make matters worse, our corporate office is in Atlanta, where Martin Luther King is from. So these three issues, along with many other issues, are why we're fighting, for UPS to deliver on a dream and give us a contract, the contract that we demand, the contract that we deserve.
When we talk about UPS and all of the workers there, I mean, there's so much leverage for UPS. There are so many workers. The U.S. economy really deeply depends on UPS workers to move things around and make it function. So can you talk a little bit about what would happen if there's a strike, which, the potential for a strike is what gives you guys so much leverage in the first place?
Yeah, so that's a great question. First off, I'd like to start off by saying no one wants to strike, but we are grateful that we have this tool, to use in order to get what we deserve. And like Sean O'Brien and my president of Local 804 always mentions, that we're not going to strike UPS. UPS is going to strike themselves if they don't give us what we deserve. We have a lot of collective power. One of the things that Sean O'Brien committed to in his campaign was to unify the members, educate the members, and it has been proven. We have members practice picketing all across the country, attending rallies, going to workshops, all to lead up to this day in solidarity to stand together for a strong contract, and it has been happening. In fact, as I mentioned, Sean O'Brien, my facility out in Canarsie, Brooklyn, will have the honor to have him as a visitor tomorrow, and he's going to join us at one of our practice picketing.
Well, certainly, I'll be looking forward to seeing the footage from that. And I mean, there's so many things that can be said, and I wanted to pick up a little bit on the thread you mentioned about Martin Luther King Day and the issue of delivering on the dream, because I mean, this is such a big thing about unions in general in America, but I think specifically the union at UPS is this has, I think, traditionally been one of the jobs that Black people in America could get that pays a decent salary. So I was wondering if you could talk about the importance of this struggle in that light, because I think that's an important factor of what the Teamsters have been able to do, with UPS over the years.
Yeah, so I mean, we all know the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was on a podium and he was fighting for the hardworking men and women. Uh, and for me, this is very important because I made it this far as a Black man. I've been employed with United Parcel Service for 28 years and proudly a Teamster for that amount of time as well. So, I believe that if it wasn't for Martin Luther King and his efforts, I wouldn't be where I am today. He has paved the way. And this is why I take such pride in standing on the practice picket line and being on this forum today is because I'm sort of, along with my counterparts, my Teamster brothers and sisters, all the way from Kentucky to Chicago, California, we're all standing in solidarity, paving the way for the unborn. So, Martin Luther King Day being honored is very important for me, because not only for a day off, but a day to reflect on the dream, a day to reflect on how far we have come, and also to realize that we have a long way to go as well. So, and this is why we're doing what we're doing today, is a catalyst for the betterment for the unborn. So, um, I honor Martin Luther King, and I am happy to hear that it has been some sort of agreement that Martin Luther King Day will be honored. And this is very important, and not only for myself. I speak for all people of color. I speak for my Caucasian brothers and sisters as well. Because we all stand in the fight. It's not about Black or white. It's about the human race. It's about the hardworking men and women in which Martin Luther King fought for.
And, on that same sort of theme, when we talk about how important the particular struggle you're involved in is, I mean, this is not just isolated to something that would be beneficial for UPS workers, right? How might you, I guess, relate this to other workers, maybe in a similar industry, and why this would be important, not just a similar industry, why this is generally important to all workers in America overall?
This is very important for all of the hardworking men and women, not just of UPS, for Starbucks, for Amazon, for DHL, because this is a great time to be in the labor movement. I could tell you this. I mean, I've been maintaining this momentum along with, my union brothers and sisters, my hardworking men and women, brothers and sisters, whether they are unionized or not unionized. We've been out there on picket lines with Starbucks, with Amazon, so the people has come together. This is not just a UPS movement. This is a Starbucks movement, Amazon movement. And what we are trying to do is maintain the industry standards. Companies like Amazon is dragging it down, and UPS is getting bright ideas, like, for example, eradicating weekends. They want us to work during the weekends. They want us to work during holidays. When I'm sitting in my backyard on 4th of July and my ring bell goes off and I see a Amazon truck pull up, is disheartening, because this is a day that we should be honoring, the independence of this country. Mother's Day, to see a young lady who has probably 2 or 3 kids at home, working on Mother's Day because she has no choice, is wrong. These are some of the ways that Amazon is bringing down the industry standards. One of the main keys that we are fighting for in this contract here is to increase the wages for part-timers, for the hardworking men and women. Amazon wants to keep that at a stagnant rate. So UPS wants to mimic Amazon, and other industries are mimicking Amazon as well. So we're fighting hard. We're on these picket lines, practice picket lines, where our voices are being heard. We're shouting to the company, demanding what we deserve, not only for our contract, but people are watching. It's for the hardworking men and women in other industries as well. Who, by the way, has been joining us on these practice picket lines as well. So, not to, I know you was just about to speak, but, I'll give you a story that in
Please.
my facility, anytime we rally, anytime we have parking lot meetings, anytime we have these practice picketing, we have our manager, the building manager, who looks out the window. So when he looks out the window, he doesn't only see a sea of brown, he sees the community. He sees other labor organizations coming together, building strength and solidarity. And that is how we get our victory.
Well, and certainly it seems like, there are many issues where the needle needs to be moved, and somewhere I think UPS has maybe made some little small changes to try to brush some crumbs off the table. But one being around, I know, health and safety issues, especially for drivers. I mean, we're under, I think there's like 104 million people in America right now under a heat advisory. It's extremely hot. And this issue of air conditioning, I know, has been one of these issues. But I've also heard from package handlers who are concerned about issues there. I mean, how important are some of these issues around just being able to do your job and not get injured?
Well, as you probably could see, I'm sitting in my room. I didn't get an opportunity to put my AC in the window, and I've only been here for about 10 minutes. So just imagine being in the back of a package car. If it's 90 degrees outside, in the back of the package car could shoot up to anywhere from 130 to 149 degrees. So these are dangerous and deadly conditions. Unfortunately, we have lost brothers and sisters throughout this country. A young man in California, he lost his life. He had a heat stroke, and UPS still, turned a blind eye. So myself and my other union brothers and sisters, we decided to come together and build a campaign called Safety Not Surveillance. And the reason why we call it Safety Not Surveillance, obviously the safety part is these are poor conditions. Surveillance comes in because UPS, instead of installing some type of cooling mechanism, some type of cooling system, they chose to install surveillance cameras, inward facing cameras, in order to monitor us, big brothers watching, as opposed to, putting us in a position where we can be more productive. First, be more safe, and then be more productive. Because obviously, if we're drenching, if we're feeling faint, we're not going to be productive. So for me, it's not about productivity first. It's about safety first. And that's the way it should be with the company. So again, that was a part of our tentative agreement. Of course, the contract wasn't ratified, but they talked about installing ACs in each package car that is brought in 2024. It's going to be a slow process because obviously UPS has a number of fleet throughout the country, and I don't know if they're going to turn that over and install ACs in every one of those fleets, in which I doubt. But it's a big win. It is a big win for me. It's a big win for my brothers and sisters, because no one knew that, no one could ever imagine that UPS would install ACs in the package car. So that's a great win, and it's about time this company considers their workers. And, I give a lot of credit to the men and women who are at the negotiating table from the IBT, who have been fighting day and night for us hardworking men and women. And they're going to continue to fight until we get what we deserve.
I would imagine that UPS isn't taking this lying down, not only in terms of how they're, negotiating with or not negotiating with workers, but also I would imagine that they're pushing out like a PR campaign of some sort from
Yes.
their end. So I'm curious what you have to say about that. And then furthermore, for those who are watching, if they wanted to get involved in helping in some peripheral way, what can they do if they're not involved in your union?
Yeah, it's funny because this morning I saw a video that has been circulating from United Parcel Service. They made it seem like a bed of roses. They had employees speaking about that this is a great job. Listen, this is a good job. It delivers great opportunities, but at the end of the day, we went through COVID. We went through extreme weather conditions, whether it be snowstorms, ice storms, smogs that we had here in New York, or 100 degrees. We had family members who died during COVID. We were out there. I know nothing about working from home. No UPS driver knows anything about working from home. We worked amid COVID when we thought that if we opened our window, that we would, get this virus. But we were out there. We got up and we got out, not knowing what was out there. We kept the community safe. We delivered, and it's time for UPS to deliver and to protect us. So, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. And there are people who say that, hey, why are you guys striking? We're striking for the hardworking men and women. We're striking for better pay, for a decent living, to maintain a quality of life, have better working conditions. So, I advise people to get involved by, reaching out to their local UPSers and joining them on the picket line. If we do go on strike, stand out there, show their solidarity, show support, because this is how we're going to win.
Antoine Andrews with Teamsters Local 804, UPS package driver in Long Island City. We were honored to have you here on the Freedom Side. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time.
Thank you. Solidarity to you all. And thank you for having me.